Just a few things about sheep and a shepherd. Sheep are not the most intelligent animal on the planet. Rather simple life, eating and sleeping and so on. But we're compared to sheep by Jesus in the gospel. But sheep do have a couple virtues. And one of those is that they're very good followers. Okay, very good followers. And I shared once, there was a farmer who had sheep told me, he said, he had sheep that were coming out of a gated area and going out into pasture. And on the way out, he said, watch this. And he put a stick down about 8 inches above the ground, and the first sheep coming out jumped over the stick and went out into the field. Then the second sheep jumped over a stick, went out in the field, and the third one. And then he pulled away the stick. And do you know that everyone after that came and jumped? They all jumped on their way out. Sheep are very good followers. The other thing that they're good at is hearing and recognizing the voice of the shepherd. Now, at the time of Christ, there's a debate about what it means, Jesus, the gate for the sheep. We have the image possibly of a gated area and the shepherd literally sleeping at the gate. So anything coming in and out would actually have to go over the shepherd, sleeping there during the night. But another one is that when the shepherds would take their sheep and kind of graze from pasture to pasture, they would kind of come together at night and they would put their flocks into one. And so if you had 3 shepherds who all had their own flock, one shepherd could stay up during the night to watch while the other 2 slept. And they could take turns. And in the morning, when they were going to take their herd, their little flock, and lead them forth to the next pasture, all they had to do, they didn't have to go over and say, here's mine, it's branded, see that one's branded with yours, this one's branded with mine. All they had to do was begin speaking to the sheep. And the sheep knew which one was their shepherd and would kind of sort themselves out as they followed. So there's 2 beautiful things about sheep, virtues about sheep. 1, they're good followers, and 2, they can hear the voice of the shepherd. And I'm going to invite us to think about hearing that voice of the shepherd too. How do we hear that voice? Well, sometimes sheep get in trouble, and they can wander off, and they can end up in a bad spot. Do you know that if a sheep falls on its back, it could die? Because it can't get itself back up. And what happens is the blood begins to drain from the legs down into the body. And so when a shepherd finds a sheep in such condition, the shepherd actually has to turn the sheep over and massage the legs. Massage the legs. When Jesus says He's the gate, it's in and through Him that we attain a salvation. But when He says He's the shepherd, it means He has tremendous care for us individually. I've been thinking about our popes as shepherds. And I'm starting to feel that we live in an age of great popes, of holy popes. Do you know now that we have a miracle for Pope Paul VI? Did you see that? So it's just coming out, and Paul VI may be canonized on October 18th or 19th this fall. So we just canonized John Paul II, and we canonized John the 23rd, and now we're going to canonize Paul VI. Holy popes in a generation that needs it. Well, one thing about Pope John Paul I, who was not one of those 3, but he was a very humble guy. He was only in office for how many days? Like 33 days. 33 days. He chose the theme humilitas. Humilitas. Humility for his pontificate. And in those 33 days, 3 times, he looked at his MC, if you will, his assistant, and said, I want you to celebrate the Mass, and I'm going to serve you as your acolyte. 3 times he did it in the 33 days. The shepherd that we have today, Pope Francis, similarly, I think, very humble man. A very humble man who is serving the poor and wants us to do the same. He wants the church to be poor, to love the poor. Not to be up there in the clouds, highfalutin, but to be humble. Well, do you and I hear the voice of the Good Shepherd? How do we hear the voice of the Good Shepherd? We don't hear the voice of the Good Shepherd if our lives are full of noise, like that guy. Wow, what timing. We have to have moments of silence. We have to have moments of contemplation. And so I'm going to invite you, good students, children of God, I invite you to consider 15 minutes a day in your own life of silence. Where you come to God, say your petitions, thank God for things, repent, but listen in silence. That is hard to do. That's really hard to do. But if you don't do it, if I don't do it, we don't get to know the voice of the shepherd, because it's in a still small voice that happens. So we're going to take a moment and practice. We're going to take a moment of silence now. I want you to ask, Lord, speak to me, Good Shepherd.